ADHD and addiction, and why you keep relapsing. Firstly, this video, along all my videos, is specifically on nasal ingestion of you-know-what. So, the person with ADHD, their brain is wired differently to a normal brain. Now, every single program that's dealing with addiction of nasal ingestion of you-know-what, whether that be rehabs, fellowships, CA, 12 steps, they all run a same program that was written 50 years before we ever knew about ADHD. 50 years before we ever understood how dopamine and ADHD are affected on an individual basis. Now, a normal brain regulates dopamine rather like a thermostat, rather like your heating control at home. But an ADHD brain runs on a low dopamine baseline. Now, a normal brain has rational cognitive thinking. An ADHD brain, because it has lower amounts of dopamine and the transmission speed, that's the speed in which your dopamine crosses through the brain, is much slower. When you do a line of you-know-what, it takes the chaos into calmness for people with ADHD. As you continue using more and more, so then you can't create chaos all over again. But it's a trap, because when it wears off, people with ADHD will be even more in a deficit dopamine than they were before. Telling a person with ADHD to just stop or surrender yourself is a bit like telling a diabetic, make insulin. You can't turn around to a diabetic and say, make insulin, because the whole point is that a diabetic cannot produce insulin. In the same way, you can't turn around to somebody with ADHD and say, surrender yourself, because they're not producing enough dopamine. In order to change that, you need specific dopamine recalibration psychological training. I work with my patients one-to-one, and I have 70% of my patients, just like the statistic, who have ADHD, which is why I've opened up a whole specialized area of dealing with people with addiction to nasal ingestion of you-know-what with ADHD. If you've got ADHD, you need a specific set of tools. What's that about?